Morning guys and gals, Froggy here. These are a couple of shelves that I'm going to hang in the bathroom. They're those, they call them floating shelves. And I'll put a link to some in the description, but you can pick your own, of course. You see that metal strip in the back? That's the hardware that's going to be attached to the wall. But the fun part is how you get them centered. Now, my wife has already decided, there's the toilet top. She decided where the center point is. You see that little black mark right there? All right, that's where she wants it. So that's where it's going to go. But how do I line up the second shelf? So that's called a plumb. So you use a plumb and a string, and you hold it with your finger up here where the second shelf is going to go, or maybe first shelf, second, or first, second, whatever you want to call it. Be careful not to be tricked by the shadow. All right, there's a shadow from the light. See the shadow? So don't get tricked by the shadow. Also, if you see, even where I hold the camera makes a difference, the camera lens. So I'm going to hold it. I guess I'll hold it right there. But don't go by my video shot and tell me that it's off, because it's not off. It's just the way the camera works. So there's the center line for both shelves. Okay, so I'm going to mark the one up there. And I told you, watch out for the shadow. And also, if you close one eye and close the other eye, it'll move. It won't move the string, but it'll move that shadow, and it'll move the appearance of where it looks on the wall. So I need my other hand to mark it. I'm just going to take a pencil and mark it up there, okay? Okay, so there's my mark. At first I tried to draw a line, and then I decided that was kind of hard to do, so I just went dot, or actually dash, 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 like that. Then I'm going to measure the distance that I want. She said 12 inches or more, a little bit more between the top of the shelf, the top of the bottom shelf, and the bottom of the top shelf. So 12 inches, that's so you could fit something of a certain size in there. Now, the backs of these things, they tell you to try to hit a stud, at least one stud. Well, I'm not going to do that, but I've got these type of hangers that it came with, and I'm going to use them. And there's enough for like 4 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually on each side, and they give you enough. So here, I don't know if it's on Amazon or not, but that's who makes this double shelf. What was I going to say? Each one of those would probably hold 10 pounds, 8 pounds. So 5 times 8 is 40. It'll hold enough. You're not going to put a 40-pound dumbbell on the shelf. You'll put maybe, between 5 and 10 pounds. So I think I'll put I don't think I'll put all 5. I think I'll put 3, maybe 3, because I just don't want to drill that many holes in the wall. Okay, so 3 on each shelf I think will be sufficient. If it ever looks like one of the shelves is tilting a little bit from weight, I'll take it off and put 2 more in on each shelf. But I think 3 and 3 is going to work. Okay, so now let me get my height thing. So I held the shelf with the bracket up against the wall to get it even with the bottom of this tape where she wants it. And then I pulled the wood off of the bracket a little bit so I could go underneath and mark the hole in the middle of the bracket. So this gives me my height. Well, actually, this is the first hole I did just to get my height. and then I moved it over to be on the center line. So that's my center hole right there. And then I just do a leveling thing and mark the other holes. So I'm actually going to drill that center hole right now and then mark 2 more holes. Okay? So I'm using this awl to make a hole, to start the hole, so that my tip of my bit doesn't walk around there, which it really won't on drywall, but I'd just like to do this little extra thing to get the hole started. Okay? Now it's entirely possible one out of these 3 holes we will hit a stud. If we hit a stud, we'll just use the screw, and you don't need that sleeve thing. Right? If we hit a stud. This is going to make a little bit of a dust, so I put a towel down to help with cleanup. I did not like the way these supplied screws were tightening up into these little plastic sleeves. So I got some thicker screws. These are construction grade. They have a Torx drive instead of a Phillips, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. All I wanted them to be was thicker. You know what I mean? Thicker so that they would expand the plastic more. And even with the thicker screw, I couldn't really tighten them up that tight. I mean, they're plenty tight for a shelf, but I've got strong hands and muscles, so I have to be careful I don't over tighten things, I guess. So anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so the way I got my 12.5 inches was I put a ruler on the bottom shelf, then I put the top shelf up with the bracket on it, and I measured to 12.5. Then I took the shelf off and just measured to the bottom of the bracket, and that right there is the bottom of the bracket. The shelf would be, sorry, I'm out of frame there. Right there would be the bottom of the bracket where I'm just tapping that ruler. So the bottom of shelf is down there, it's 12.5, and then I use the bracket as a straight edge to come over to the center point, and then I put the mark right in the middle of the middle hole right there. So that's where I'm going to drill my middle hole. Start right there. Okay, let me drill that. Okay, so that's done. Came out like 12.25 inches for some reason instead of 12.5. I don't know what happened there, but it doesn't matter because what I wanted was between 12 and 12.5. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Towels I put down helped with the cleanup. I really hate cleanup, so that worked. And give me a thumbs up or a like if this helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy. Ring the bell if you want notification. Be safe. Have fun. Froggy out. Let's go, Brandon.